This is the Troutbitten podcast.
Troutbitten.
Troutbitten?
Troutbitten.
Troutbitten.
Troutbitten?
Yeah, Troutbitten.
Troutbitten.
It's about trout.
Wild trout.
This is Troutbitten.
This is the Troutbitten podcast, and thanks for tuning in. My name is Dominic Swantowski. I'm the owner of Troutbitten and the author of Troutbitten.com. All right, we are back with our skills series on dry fly platforms, and this is our third installment, now with the Comparadun style. So with its simple form of wing, body, and tail, the Comparadun is another template for the dry fly angler, another perfectly adaptable platform. And for the properties of flotation, wing form, visibility, and profile, the Comparadun relies on a deer hair wing, usually. Because unlike our first two platforms of upright hackles and parachutes, there is no hackle on a Comparadun. So when the Comparadun hit the scene in the 1970s, it was a significant departure from the norm. Anglers recognized this, but more importantly, the trout recognized this too. The Comparadun became a hatch matcher. It became the closer. Because the Comparadun specialized in fooling selective trout, with perhaps the most realistic profile of a mayfly out there. The unique design of the Comparadun caught on quickly because, once again, it solved problems on the water. So, my buddy Bill Dell is joining me this evening, and we'll tell you everything we know about the Comparadun. A little history, a parts list, some tying tips, fishing situations, and times to fish a Comparadun, along with some tweaks of material choice and anything else we can think of. So here he is, back on the mic, Ice Fisherman Deli. Here's Bill Dell. What's up, buddy?
Howdy.
Ice fishing.
We got to go to hard water nowadays because everything's locked up out this way. First time I've been ice fishing in a long time.
I've never been ice fishing in my life. You used tiny little rods?
Yeah, I got 2 foot rod with a reel that's way too big on it because I just use my regular spinning reels. But
do you really?
Yeah, my auger blades are about 20 years old, so they were
nice.
A little hard to get through the ice.
You got a little shack, or you just wear a big coat?
Just wear a big coat.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's cold.
This is not the winter to not have a little shanty out there.
No.
You said you haven't done it for a while, but
no, it's probably been 10 years or so. We just haven't had like the winters like we used to, and this is the first year in a long time.
I know.
I mean, the lake I was on yesterday had a foot of ice, and
yeah, sure. What do you need generally for depth?
3 inches is considered safe.
Oh, it doesn't seem safe to me.
That's what everybody says, but it's
all right.
If you think about plywood, right? You got a 1/2 inch sheet of plywood. If you think about it, you can walk across a 2x6.
All right.
2x6 is only 1 3/4 inches wide.
Yeah, once you
or
plane
thick.
it down. Yeah.
And so if you stack 2x6s on top of each other, you got safe ice.
So 3 is safe. I read just yesterday that the Ohio River was freezing over, like all the way across. I saw some pictures too.
Yeah, I saw some pictures of
That's
people
nuts.
like out there with an ice fish in front of the Pittsburgh Steelers stadium.
No kidding.
Like the guy drilled a hole off of 2 feet off the shore and like posted a picture. But
well, even the last game we went to, there was like some shelf ice, let's call it, in some of the backwater. The Ohio River, though, they said it had been since the 70s since it froze over. That's a long time.
yeah, I think Erie had 92% of like the entire lake, like 92% of the entire Lake Erie was frozen.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Good to have you here. Let's do a question. This one's from Jake through email. He
Jake
says,
from State Farm.
This came. No, that's not him. Poor guy. Anybody named Jake?
Yeah, he's ruined.
It's like every Karen these days. Poor girls. All right. He says, hey, Dominic, my fishing partner turned me on to your website, and I'm going back through all of your podcasts this winter. Good. It's a good project. He says, my question is simple. How did you find such a fantastic group of fishermen? Deli, you're part of that, right?
Yeah.
It's a nice compliment. That's all you got to do to get your question read. Be nice. No, really. He says, anyone listening can tell that you guys are not only knowledgeable, but would be a lot of fun to fish with too. 3 cheers for Troutbitten from cold, wintry Colorado, Jake Willis. Thanks, Jake, from State Farm. I appreciate it. I don't know. That question came in just this evening before we started recording. I was just thinking, I talked to Austin yesterday, and Josh and I are about to film and do something else. And for me, this is a neat way to make a living. I don't know, working on a book right now. I've been almost sentimental about going back through all of our pictures. There's 14,000, more than that, but about 14,000 pictures that are basically usable. And, obviously you guys have contributed way more than I've taken as far as the pictures go. And like I said, I'm almost sentimental about it. Because I'm like, oh man, I remember that trip. Man, that was fun. That was fun. And even just simple times that we've fished, our locals around here.
Yeah.
And had a beer after. I got a lot of pictures that just remind me of stuff. It is a good group of guys.
I don't know. I guess it's just look for like-minded people.
Yeah.
I think we're all, I don't know, like-minded people that are kind.
I like to think so. Yeah.
I can't say that anybody that I've ever fished with is like a bad person. You know what I mean? Like I think somebody that's dedicated and wants to fish, 60, 50, 20 days a year.
Yeah.
If you can find that person that has that like-minded drive to go out and fish, and you're doing it in crappy weather, you're doing it in nice weather. Yeah. I don't know. I guess it just breeds good people.
Yeah, I think so too. We did a podcast, years ago about finding fishing friends or how to find fishing friends. Not an uncommon question that Jake asked. People ask it in different ways. It was a nice compliment to just...
Do you think it's different with social media now? Like, I feel like when we all became friends, wasn't as big as it is now.
Okay. I think it was more pure, though, let's say. Instagram, and we've talked about the changes that has gone through. I used to pull up Instagram and see that one of my buddies went fishing, and then we talk on Instagram about how things were. Leaders and flies and stuff. Nobody seems
wasn't 50 ads
anymore
between you and the next picture of your friend.
Right. That's what I mean by pure. I thought that was actually a good way to kind of meet people in a way.
Yeah.
Or maybe some local guys. I don't know. I will say that when the Troutbitten crew was kind of getting together, what we thought was unique, perhaps. Well, it was hard to find in other people, other fishermen. Like you said, I don't find bad fishermen out there. I think I can get along. I do get along with just about every fisherman I've ever met. I started realizing when I started giving presentations, I was like, man, this doesn't make me nervous at all. I just like talking fishing with people. This is great.
Yeah.
So the fishermen make me comfortable because they're good people. And yet, when we started the crew, or when we started Troutbitten, we were realizing that I think it's unique to have people, let's say, as dedicated or interested in the tactics and also interested in catching fish. Like that's an important thing to us, but not be competitive.
Yeah, I think it's a good point is you fish a lot and I fish a lot on my own. Mm-hmm. And so when I go fishing with friends, I'm not interested in catching more fish than them. I'd rather do the buddy system, hang out, fish, and just BS.
Yeah.
If I fished with somebody every day, let's say 3/4 of the time I went fishing, I might have a different opinion of that.
Yeah.
But, when I get to fish with somebody, I want to hang out with them, so to speak.
Yeah, that's cool. So, hey, let's recap the episode list. Again, this is dry fly platforms. Everybody by episode 3 here knows what we're talking about. First week was upright hackles. Last week was parachutes. This week, Comparaduns. Next week, you with me, Deli, for downwings?
Yes.
Matt's doing hoppers and stoneflies with me. Then we'll do emergers, and then we decided on number 7 being like the outliers. So it'd be fun. And I asked Austin this last week, and now Bill, what's your favorite platform on this list? It's a very open question.
Comparaduns.
That's why you're here.
That's why I'm here. This is my jam.
Austin said, you got to have Bill on for Comparadun. So I was like, yeah, good point. And next week with downwings, I know you're a big Elk Air Cats fan.
It was a tough choice, but I don't know. There's something about them. I just like them, and they catch fish. We'll talk about it.
As we go through, seriously, highlight, I don't know, the things that are different about the Comparadun.
It's the cheapest dry fly to tie.
It is the cheap. That's one of the strengths.
It is.
Every week so far, we've kind of gone through a history, and I'm prefacing this again with telling you I'm not here to, give you a complete history of the Comparadun. That's not the purpose. But the first published Comparadun style, or the idea really, arguably came from the haystack. You remember that, Deli? Well, not remember that long ago, because this was in the 60s.
In the 60s. Yeah. Back when I was 30.
Yeah. But I don't know. I remember getting into fly fishing and hearing about the haystack and reading all these. You've read a lot of books too, right? I mean, have you gone back and read a lot of the old texts?
Not really. I'm not this is where my information is probably not as good as you and Austin. You guys seem to have a real appreciation for the history. like the legacy that is fly fishing, where I'm probably like, let me just tinker around and see what I can do and read the tying book and then figure it out from there.
I will say Austin, as far as legacy, that's a good word. Austin has the most appreciation for it.
Yeah.
I understand it. Let's say I feel like I'm pretty knowledgeable about the history or the legacy of fly fishing. But, well, I can almost be offended by it sometimes. I'll tell you what I mean here in a second.
Yeah.
The haystack, Fran Better's, the Adirondacks in the 1960s. That's the precursor, basically, to the Comparadun. The haystack has a thick clump of hair for the wing and another one for the tail, which is different than, let's say, your modern Comparadun. It's a lot of deer hair floating on the surface there. And then, 1972, Al Cauchy and Bob Nastasi published Comparahatch with a more refined version of the haystack. That's what I'll say. I'm not saying they stole it or anything. People, that's what I mean. People will get real bent out of shape if you say things the wrong way.
They dialed it in.
There you go. And then in 1975, they followed that up with a book that they're widely known for, Hatches. I think that's on a lot of people's bookshelves. And that's one of those seminal books that really pushed the industry. I kind of think of it as a new era, kind of like with modern streamers for trophy trout, and I don't know, this kind of nymphing phase that the industry seems to be in. But in this case, the industry shifted to an era of hatch matching. And the Comparadun has been part of that solution then ever since. So I do want to mention that a lot of the dry fly design, early dry fly design, is very much mayfly focused, and especially early on. And the further back you go, I think this is true. The dry flies were designed and built to match a mayfly. And yeah, that kind of misses a lot. I said earlier that the legacy kind of almost offends me. Here's what I mean. Like, there's a thick thread of rules and limitations that runs through fly fishing. Historically, you know what I'm talking about, like fishing only upstream to rising trout, you know?
Only dries.
During a certain phase of the moon.
On a Tuesday.
No weight, no streamers, right? Lots of rules early on. And some people still want to go by these rules. And that mindset kind of leaked into the hatch matching obsession started in the 1970s, which is where we find a Comparadun and the parachute's taken over for fooling selective trout. Anyway, I'm sure that frequent Troutbitten listeners know that we don't really like rules and restrictions very much. Honestly, I think too much of that rules stuff kind of then leads right into the elitism that fly anglers are kind of fairly saddled with, and we avoid that. I guess we've discussed all that before, but I find it interesting that for so long through history, dry fly patterns were pretty centrally focused on the mayfly, mostly ignoring caddisflies, crane flies, stoneflies, midges, and terrestrials. And again, I said mostly ignoring, but go back and look at the texts. They're mostly about matching the mayflies. However, I think we've all learned that these platforms, like the upright hackle and like the parachute, can easily be adapted to catch trout when something other than the mayfly is hatching too. You know what I mean, Bill?
I was trying to think of something I could tie in a Comparadun form, though, that would not be mayfly. Might be able to do caddis. I think caddis, you might be able to make something as like an emerger type thing, but I can't think. I'm trying to think of something in a Comparadun style that you could adapt to stoneflies or terrestrials.
You can't do a Comparadun ant?
No. I mean, you could. I don't know. Maybe I'll try one.
Compare ant. I think I've actually seen something like that. Now, let me put it this way. Do you think during a heavy stonefly, I want to say emergence, but we know they don't take the stones as they're emerging. Let's say they're fluttering around and trout are grabbing them. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Do you think they would eat a big Comparadun of the same size?
I think you could pull one. Would it be the most effective pattern? Probably not, but
that's fair.
There's always one dumb fish per mile.
Maybe every 100 yards.
Maybe 100 yards.
This is more, let's say, limiting. The Comparadun is, I think, more specific to mayflies. But we did talk about how the parachute and the upright hackle can both look like a caddis, for example. Well, do you think you can get a parachute style? Yeah, absolutely. There are parachute stoneflies, right? We were saying it last week. What we were calling a parachute doesn't even necessarily have a tail. Like my parachute ant, we're calling it a parachute. It's got a post and hackle around it. Of course, there are stoneflies that way. There are caddisflies that have that.
Yeah.
And upright hackles, definitely. I once heard that I think the Adams was originally, the Catskill style Adams was originally to mimic a fluttering caddis. Not a mayfly. I don't know if it's true.
I could see that. If that wing folds back a little bit instead of your mallard flanks or whatever that are off to the side, if you fold those back, you're pretty close to an elk hair looking caddis.
Yeah. I don't even put wings on most of my,
And
on many, let's say, of my upright hackles. I don't even include wings a lot of times. Anyway, both those other styles can look like other bugs besides mayflies, but not so much the Comparadun. So let's just take a quick look at the form. I'm sure most people out there know what we're talking about when we say Comparadun, but for the sake of this discussion, here we go. There's just a few things, right?
so you've got your standard hook usually. For the wing, it's kind of like a fan across the front of it. So it's usually, I don't know, about a quarter of the way back through the body. Then you've got a dubbing body, and then you've got a tail to it. And so the tail could either be like a Zelon, some sort of shuck material, or Austin's favorite, the microfibbits.
We like microfibbits. Yeah, that's about all there is. There's tails. And you already are talking about different things that we'll address when we get to the parts list. But that's our platform. Wing, body, tail.
It's simple.
It is, right? Like you said, that's why you like it. I will say, I think this Comparadun style, template, platform, whatever, is the most specific or narrow in that definition that we've done yet. So I've been wearing Tajima polarized lenses for over a year now, and I can tell you they've changed my vision and my comfort level on the water. First, I chose a progressive prescription, and I haven't looked back. Previously, I was carrying readers on the stream, but by putting my prescription in the glasses, I put my Tajima lenses on at the beginning of the day, and I never take them off. Second, my go-to lens choice is Tajima's Yellow-Green 40 Silver Mirror, because with their high light transmission, they're perfect for the cloudy low-light days that we all love so much. On brighter days, I choose Tajima's Brown 15 Green Mirror because they block more light and eliminate eye strain when the sun is strong. Prescription or not, Tajima takes any of your existing frames and puts the finest polarized lens technology into them for a fraction of the cost of a new pair, with purpose-built lens tints and colors designed for fly fishing and matched for your conditions. Tajima's service is also second to none. My Tajima lenses aren't an accessory. They're a key piece of daily gear. Send in your own frames today. Visit tajima-direct.com. That's TAJIMA-direct.com. Upgrade your lenses and see what you've been missing. To tie the best flies, you need the best materials. And at Fooling Mill, they're on a mission to make sure you get exactly that. After 2 big releases of fly tying materials, Fooling Mill is back with another expansion of their industry-leading range. When you dive in, you'll find things like thread, floss, mini marabou, CDC dubbing, Argentine hair dubbing, silicone legs, round rubber, shrimp eyes, new chenilles, and new colors in some of their existing material ranges, like barred craft fur. Fooling Mill also released a purpose-built saltwater hook. Whether you're tying dries, streamers, nymphs, saltwater flies, or predator flies, there's something for everyone. And at Fooling Mill, materials always go through a rigorous quality control process. So before they're packaged and shipped out, Fooling Mill makes sure their materials are up to the highest quality standards. Ask for Fooling Mill at your local dealer. So let's talk about the strong points and the weak points, right? Like the reasons we choose them or the reasons we don't.
The main reason I choose them is they're just so accurate to what a mayfly looks like floating on the water.
Yeah. I thought you meant accurate to cast.
I mean, everything's accurate that I put on.
Hey now. Do you think they cast well? Accurately? Is that a question?
Well, I would say yes, maybe up until maybe 10s. Like size 10 Comparadun, you've got a little bit of air resistance to it. It might be a little less accurate.
Then you adjust your leader.
Yeah. You've got to beef up your leader at that point.
Mm-hmm. We're talking about how some flies will twist in the air or twist your leader and things like that. I don't find that any kind of trouble like that with Comparaduns.
No, not until you get real big ones.
Yeah, and too thin of tippet if you're going big.
Yeah.
Good point, though. I mean, accurate. You may, when you start saying accurate, that's what I was thinking, but you're saying accurate like profile.
Yeah.
What the fish wants to see, they get to see it.
Yeah. I think they're easy to tie once you get in a groove.
Were you good at tying them right away?
No, that's one thing.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Me neither.
I think it took me a little bit of time. We can talk about that later as far as tying tips.
Okay.
But I do think there's a little bit of a trick to the wing to get it right and to get it to stay right.
Yeah, it wasn't easy for me either, but I was having trouble with some hackle back then too.
Yeah.
You know, I agree. It's a quick, easy tie. The fact that you don't need hackle is kind of neat because, well, deer hair, elk hair, whatever, is a lot cheaper than hackle. So if you're on a budget, it's an easy tie. You kind of never run out of, well, I got a half drawer full of deer hair. I'll never run out. Pretty durable. You think it's a more durable fly than like a hackled fly?
I think, yeah, if you have good material. I will say that I think,
and you tie it in right.
right. Yeah. I do think knowing the right hair to get for a Comparadun, I think is extremely important. I had Anthony, our buddy from New Trail, we were talking about Comparaduns, and he was sending me pictures of it. I was like, you got the wrong hair.
You got the wrong hair, yeah.
And I was like, here, blue ribbon flies, man, for me, they've got the best hair selection.
I've bought from them, yeah.
They have like a Compara hair, it's like a deer hair, or I've used the yearling elk as a Comparadun.
I like how companies these days are marketing them. This deer hair is good for Comparadun. This stuff's good for spinning, to make a deer hair head. And those are two really different styles of deer hair.
Right. That was the first, I feel like it was, I bought it. My stuff's probably, I got to see if it's still good, but I still use it. It's probably 10 or so years old that I bought from Blue Ribbon. And back then there wasn't that, they were the first place that I found that labeled it, here's what this will do. Here's what this will do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Spirit River does that now. The company.
Yeah.
Not a fly shop, but yeah, Spirit River. I'm sure they do it. I'm sure there's other ones catching on doing the same thing. Gallup's shop does it too. Yeah, so that's some strong points. And for me, the reason I don't always use a Comparadun, I find it not to be the best floater, and it's not the most visible. You might say differently.
Oh, I'm contrarian on that one, but I will.
Here we go.
Yeah. I've been accused of my Comparaduns have more hair than what are supposed to be.
Well, whatever's traditional, you're a little over that. Or maybe
I'm
a lot.
I'm about
no right or
I'm
wrong.
about double that.
I know you are. I was going to say, I think you're about double.
At least on the bigger flies.
Yeah.
I
know why. Why do you do that?
Floatability.
Okay.
On a size 10, I can probably suspend a 3mm tungsten bead with it.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot.
And so
that's a lot. You're talking 25 centigrams, basically.
Yeah. And so it's just how I started to tie them. The river I've fished, that size 10 is usually a slate drake. And so the river I fished, that dry dropper was really effective, but it was really a lot of surface disturbance, a lot of riffles, a lot of runs.
Yeah, okay.
A little bit of a negative. I don't think the Comparadun is the best in really heavy water.
Even the way you tie it.
Yeah. Just as
do the haystack, buddy. Put the deer hair on the tail too. You ever try that?
No, I haven't. I'll have to try it.
Next.
Just spin a whole deer hair on it. It was
That's the irresistible. Remember that? Goddard's caddis, maybe.
Yeah, I think it was a Goddard. That's the first one I was thinking of, but it's probably similar.
Anyway, it's all been done somewhere.
But as far as visibility, almost all of mine are bleached. I fish almost all bleached, which is a white
bleached hair. Yeah.
And so,
well, it's cream, very light tan, whatever.
No, this is white. It's bleached.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It's
I have bleached, but it's like it's a light ginger. I have a couple that are bleached.
Okay.
You have white.
But it's I the ones that I've dug around and looked for them. It was really bright white, and I was like, oh, that's good. I'm taking that.
You like that? Let me ask you this. I like these details. If you bleach, you didn't bleach it yourself, did you?
No.
Okay.
Not that
So
skilled.
if you get it and it's that bleached, let's say, doesn't that take the oils out of it? Let's say can't it get dry and kind of brittle and
they
seem brittle?
Not when I've used it, not lately. No. When I was into muskie, I've heard black is the hardest color to dye on a hair, on deer, like bucktails. And it whatever dye is used in that, I guess, is stronger and will damage the hair more likely than other colors.
Yeah. Well, Craig Matthews was telling me about pheasant tail. If you dye it, it destroys some of the best properties of the pheasant tail.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised to hear that. Let me ask you this though: what I was calling kind of my weak points, that it doesn't, that the Comparadun is not the best floater and it's not the most visible. You're like, I overcame that.
I conquered that.
Right. Would you still fish those Comparaduns with 2 times the amount of deer hair in the wing and the light wing, whether it's white or really, really light tan, in the slowest water, let's say over the pickiest trout?
Yeah.
Yeah, no problems?
Yeah. Definitely the white hair I've done on some of the pickiest fish.
Mm-hmm.
And I've not had a problem with it. The bulkiness of it, yeah, maybe. a little bit. I think like we talk about like the tying tricks of it. Sometimes when you add that much hair, it makes the body disproportionate.
Yeah, kind of beefy.
Yeah. And so if you can really cinch it down, you can overcome that. But there's a point where it's trying to stuff 10 pounds of crap in a 5-pound bag.
It's still there.
So there's a little bit of balance there.
Yeah, good point. So I often go to the Comparadun really in those slower pieces of water. Over top of those fish that do seem to perhaps be rejecting my parachute or the upright hackles or whatever. I use a CDC and elk a lot. We'll talk about that next week. When some of my other go-tos and a clink hammer aren't working, then I'm like, get the Comparadun out. And really, when I know I'm going over top of a hatch, I'm starting to think of Comparadun. I often use a CDC Comparadun. We'll talk about that too. For me, it's like one of those flies that I do tie a little bit more. It's kind of sparse. I guess I used it, let's say, traditional amount of deer hair for that wing or CDC. I don't overwing it. So I can't fairly say what for me it would be like in rougher water or if I would see it well enough if I did it your way. I have fished a couple of years, but you're real stingy with your flies. No, that's not true. That's the opposite. Deli's very, very generous with his flies. I just don't like fishing other people's flies.
If you're trying to match a hatch, I think you have to think about what's going on with that hatch. If you've got flies that are dancing around on the surface and kind of skittering, I don't think Comparadun's your right fly. Like that's
agreed.
That's more of like your hackle fly, where if you're fishing a tail out and the bugs are stuck to the water, I think that's your sweet spot for Comparaduns. Nice.
One other, let's say, downside, weak point perhaps. I find that they get wetted out easier. Meaning, like, I don't know, once I do catch, a whole bunch of fish with them, Deli, they get slimed up and I gotta rinse them out. A parachute, man, I just kind of whip it around and boom, I'm back in the water. You got to baby them a little bit, you think, to compare them?
No, I do agree that was a problem. There's some new floatants out that I feel like really revive stuff or just take some kerosene with you.
Yeah.
But there's some floatants. For a long time I was a gink guy. The gel. This year I converted, my buddy Beck got me into it, was more of like the pure liquid form of some of this stuff. And I think that revitalizes those Comparaduns a lot better.
No kidding.
Worst case scenario, I keep like that shaker with me.
I know you mean little beads.
Yeah, the little beads, and it'll kind of dry it out. I'll dry it out with that, and then I'll throw some of the other stuff on it. But yeah, I do think if I would say which one floats longer, probably the hackle stuff would last longer. Like floatability of it.
Yeah, especially when you get high quality hackle. Yeah, so let's do the parts list. Go over the wing, right? We're mostly talking deer hair here. That's certainly the traditional way to do it. That deer hair is in like a 180-degree fan on top of the hook. So we said that if you don't have the right hair, it's a really tough thing to tie. Let's get pretty specific about what quality of hair we're looking for.
So you're looking for kind of like a finer hair.
Yeah.
There's different hair that I like for different sizes of flies.
Okay, yeah. You mean 10 versus 18?
Yeah. So like a 10, let's say you're tying a 10 Comparadun. You can probably get away with your standard hair that you're using for your elk hair caddis.
Okay, all right.
Whether it's deer hair or elk hair, I think. Once you get down to like a 16, I feel like that's when you've got to change the type of hair you're using for a Comparadun, where it needs to be like a yearling elk or like something that's like the hair fibers are a lot thinner, because if they're thicker, they're going to create a bigger thorax portion of your fly.
Yeah. Like you were saying earlier, you have to cover up the butts, the butt ends of that hair you're tying in. Yeah.
Yeah.
And anybody out there, if you've never tied a Comparadun, you don't understand what we're talking about, whatever, go look it up on YouTube and you'll see. It's a simple fly. There's only a few parts. However much deer hair you put on, your body is going to get a little thicker. Your thorax is going to get a little thicker. So I want to tell you about one of the best ideas and coolest products I've seen enter our industry. Kling Fishing Products makes MagGrab, magnetic fly patches, to level up your organizational game on the water. MagGrabs are made in Montana and feature strong rare earth magnets that offer incredible holding power. You can attach them anywhere you need, from your hat to your pack, your cooler, your boat, the dash of your car, or the bed of your truck. Wherever you attach the mag grab, you know your flies and tools are secure. New for this year is the Mag Grab Rod Rack. The rod rack is a 2-part system designed to hold your fly rod securely during fly changes, fish releases, snack time, and any other situation where you might need to set your rod down for a minute. The base plate securely attaches to the butt of your rod with a strong rubber clasp, while the top magnet is easily attached to your waders, pack, or vest. Get them close and they click together. Your rod is secure. So check out Kling Fishing's full line of Mag Grab products at klingfishing.com or ask for them at your local dealer and find the Kling Mag Grab that works for you. Tactical Fly Fisher was founded by Fly Fishing Team USA angler Devin Olson in 2015 to make the gear and knowledge he'd gained at the World Fly Fishing Championship available to all anglers. Tactical Fly Fisher's goal is simple. They sell the latest and best fly fishing and fly tying equipment and help you learn how to use it through their videos and books. Visit their store at tacticalflyfisher.com and use the code TB15 to get 15% off your first order. That code excludes rods, reels, tying vices, waders, and boots.
Now, what about thread? Are you picky on the type of thread you're tying it on with?
No, I don't know if we've talked about thread at all. Well, I will say, all right, I'm not going to use like a 16-aught. I've been using thinner and thinner threads, but I haven't been tying Comparaduns with it because you can cut right through that deer hair. Is that what you're thinking?
You can, but it depends. Like when I get down to a size 20, I might use that 16-aught.
Wow.
And so you kind of have to be careful with it.
Yeah.
When you lay the hair down, you kind of have to stack like a thread layer on it. You can't just wrap it once and cinch it. It'll go straight through it.
Right.
Where if you're tying in that hair and you build like a thread stack kind of on top of it, that's
nice.
Not real,
like a protector.
Yeah, like not real tight, but like not like just enough to hold the hair in place. And then you know, once you have that thread, you know, you basically build up, let's say, enough thread that it almost looks that smaller thread looks like a 3/0 thread at that point on top of that
I
hook.
hear that.
And then you're kind of, as you tie, then you're just slowly cinching it down into place. And so you can tie like a size 20 or size 22 Comparadun. It'll help you compress the hair that you're putting on the body. And it also reduces like the size of the thorax too. So that you're not like
building up as much thread bulk.
Yeah. So you can get away with a little bit more hair if you do that.
Interesting. So I always use 8/0. I don't seem to have a problem with it. But I'm not trying to put as much hair on there as you do. I remember Doug Wennick from Fly Fisher's Paradise telling me that the hair that I wanted, and they had good stuff in there, was Pacific Northwest coastal deer hair. And I didn't know what that meant. I still don't really. But I
don't know.
I have the patches, and that's probably what companies are labeling as Comparadun hair. Again, it's fine enough that it'll flare, and then it's like stiff enough to hold its shape. Because if you get really wimpy, too thin or too flexible of hair, then it won't stand up. And seriously, after you not even catch fish with it, but just handle it, everything just starts laying over and matting down too easily. So it needs to be stiff and hold its shape. But then what makes it flare is that the fibers are hollow, right?
Yeah.
That also gives it buoyancy because the fibers, these hairs, are a little bit hollow. And then when you cinch it down, that's what makes it flare because it's hollow in the middle. If the hair doesn't have enough hollowness, then it won't flare,
Yeah. And if let's say you have a longer hair fiber and you try to tie in just the tips of it, right. I think that's where sometimes you get into problems because it's weaker up there. And so when you try to cinch it down, it'll cut through it and it'll pull through it versus if you have the entire length of the hair fiber is smaller, it allows you to tie further down closer to the base of the hide. And so the hair's a little stronger down there, it seems like.
Good point. The stuff I have that I like the best has like short, dark tips on it. If you really look at deer hair, almost any deer hair, there is a tip at the end that is dark, almost black, right? No matter what the rest of the color of the hair is, there's like a darker area at the end. And those, I think, if you're going to have good Comparadun hair, should be short and dark.
Do you mix in on some flies like you're talking about, like if you have a dark wing stuff? Sometimes I'll mix in a little poly or a little, now that I'm
widow's web.
Now that I've adapted the widow's web to my arsenal, and Matt has forced it upon us. Yeah. I'll put a little bit of that in it so that it makes it pop in some of those glary days. If you have
like
like a
that.
darker hair, my buddy Greg showed me that, and it's, as I get older, I appreciate it more every day.
Well, you can thank Greg for me on that one. I never did that with a Comparadun wing, but I could think of a couple that I'd like to have it in there. They're not all super visible. Like I
Right.
said, that's a pretty damn good idea. I've done that with parachute posts. Just put a little bit of flashy fiber coming out of the middle of it.
Yep.
That's a neat idea.
It's kind of, it's the convergence of the Comparadun and the parachute.
I like it. Visibility. We also said they can't be, well, if your hair is breaking, either when you're tying it or just if it's old and kind of brittle, or if it was dyed wrong perhaps and it's brittle, don't use it. You just have to have the right hair. If you're struggling, whatever, like I said, if you're watching the videos and it's not working for you, you probably have the wrong hair.
When you're picking out deer hair and you go to the shop and let's say there's a big hide, like let's say a quarter or a fifth of some of those like hair fibers have been broken off. Do you ever see them like where they're over, I don't know if they're over dried, but you can see like, portions of the hide have like the top part of the hair that's missing. Mm-hmm. That's one you want to leave in the shop.
Right. Or if you have like, sometimes you'll see little fibers in the bag too. Like it's breaking apart in the bag in transport. It's like potato chips. They're all breaking up. Nah, I don't think too many shops are selling, that low quality stuff. It shouldn't be that hard to find them. And especially these days with them labeling it for its purpose. I mean, deer hair for its purpose. The shank length is what I make the wing. You agree with that? I mean, is that what you do? Or you go a little more? That's traditional. You measure it against the shank and then the wing should be that tall.
I'm probably a little bit longer.
I thought you might be.
Yeah, for visibility purposes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what hook shank are you tying it on?
Well, I'm just going to go standard dry or 1X long dry.
I like the shorts. I'm usually like a 2.488. I tie them a lot on caddis, just your regular curved shank caddis as well.
Curved? No kidding. Why?
I mostly tie sparkle duns, and so it's probably.
Oh, gotcha.
At this point, I'm probably tying more of an merger, but I do tie the standard hook a good bit. But you and Austin were talking about tying stuff on thin wire hooks, and I tie everything on nymph hooks.
Oh, get out!
I don't tie them on dry flies, and that's probably
like
another
1X strong.
Yeah,
1X heavy, basically.
Yeah, and then.
That's why you need.
That's why I need the extra hair. I've had too many fish just bend those standard wimpy hooks.
You're always the outlier. You don't even try to be. You're just different. You don't even try to be.
I'm just the way I don't know. Like I said, that's why I don't read any books. I just go out there and do it.
You come to your own conclusions. You don't read other people's stuff and go, I'll do it that way. You go, well, how's this going to work for me? I love it. So we're talking a lot about deer hair, elk hair, snowshoe rabbit's foot. I know that, again, there was a guy in Fly Fisher's Paradise that was tying them that way. I never really learned how to use that very well.
I went all in because I read somewhere that it floats better and it's better to catch fish. I read some article somewhere. So I have like 6 like rabbit's feet in my tie-in bin up there. I tied it. I wasn't a fan of it. It didn't seem to float as well. It was a little harder to work with than deer.
It's real slippery for me.
Yeah.
So that's an option though. Lots of people love it.
Yeah.
It is crinkly, and what basically it's supposed to be. I mean, it's waterproof. I think it's a kind of a odd material there to be natural and so waterproof. You said earlier about using poly yarns for the the wing.
Yeah. So it's an EP trigger fiber. My buddy Beck told me about it. I used it and I was like, this isn't any good. I was giving him crap about it, and he's like, well, you're using the wrong floating with it. And so, man, you get like this big patch of it, and it's kind of, it's very similar to Widow's Web. They're probably about the same thing, but
little wave to it.
Yeah.
Little crinkle.
You can tie them with that. They work I like them for smaller flies, like let's say a 16 to a 20 in that range for the Comparadun.
Okay.
If you use, it's kind of like that Flyagra floatant on it, it will come back quicker. If you try to put gink on it like I was trying to, it just makes it sink.
Gotcha. So my question, basically, can you get that poly to flare? Well, like we were just saying, deer hair does. You can, huh?
It's actually easier because you can just cut it off, and I tied like, I don't know, half a dozen flies in like 10 minutes with it because it was just boom, 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 because you don't got to stack it. You can just cut it. Now, how do I explain this? Like deer hair has, like when you cinch down on it and it kind of does the fan.
Yeah.
I feel like it does look more natural. Like that
The deer hair does.
like to us, but I don't know what the fish think about it.
Yeah.
But
right.
like, it looks prettier. You can get the other stuff to do it. You have to manipulate it a little bit differently.
Yeah, pull it a little bit on the sides.
Yeah. But
I've done that.
You can get it
to get that full fan effect. Because the idea with the wings here is the wings are supposed to sit on the surface, not poke through the surface. Basically, the body is sitting in the surface or slightly going through it, let's say, right? So the body's there under, and like you said, a very accurate profile for really what the fish is seeing from the naturals. Then the wings are sitting there on top. So I'm thinking, like, basically, if you put a poly wing on there and you leave it almost just like a parachute post, then you don't have that profile of those wings coming down to look like legs or anything like they're supposed to. But I know what you're saying. Like, I've used poly and I've like manipulated it into that fan shape. I didn't like doing it. I didn't feel like it was better than deer hair, so I went away from it. It doesn't mean
I think it's like you have to tinker with it more. I feel like like hair. I feel like it just naturally will do that flaring motion.
Yeah, right.
Where other fibers, you kind of have to tinker with it and get it to do what you want it. CDC though, I think CDC is probably your next.
Oh baby,
I like the mixture of CDC with one of those fibers, because then you've got like CDC will flare. Like if you get a couple feathers, let's say I'm tying a 16, I might get like 4 or 5 like feathers, and all I'm using is just the absolute tips of them. And then I'll take some poly or something, or that trigger fiber or widow's web, and you're kind of holding it over top of it. And then when you're putting it on the hook, and then when you go to flare it, you're getting the best of both, right? You're getting the CDC.
Boy, that's interesting too.
You're getting the CDC look, and then you're getting the visibility of having that like other fiber with it. That's
very interesting. I've never done that either. I got onto the CDC Comparadun probably 3 or 4 years ago. It's become it's really
effective.
I know. It's become one of my favorite flies. I find that I don't really have a problem seeing it. I really only use like dun colored CDC.
The good CDC that I have is like a darker brown, and so it's hell to see.
What I was going to say, I don't have a hard time seeing it because you can't use gel or anything on it.
Yeah.
I use the dust, and then right after I dust it up, I see it pretty well.
I got you. It's got that white tint to it from the dust.
Yeah, and the kind of water that I'm using a CDC Comparadun is not riffly and broken up. I'm not losing it like that. I don't have that much problem seeing it. But boy, I wouldn't mind putting a few, like you're saying, those trigger fibers, just something with a little sparkle, a little edge to be able to
just that,
reflect some light.
Like you said,
cool idea.
It gets a little, if you're fishing into black water in a lot of the big rivers, and you're fishing kind of tail outs with olives, or you're fishing sulfurs at dusk, a lot of times you're going to end up fishing into black water. And so you need something to catch the sun and create some sort of glare. And a lot of my dry flies, I at least tie a couple that have that sparkle. But if you had the pickiest fish, do you think CDC is your go-to?
Yes. Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah, that's a quick answer from me. I keep turning to it more and more. I just love it. And it's so simple.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm just on thread bodies even behind. I mean, in the smallest ones, really thin on the dub. It's a very sparse fly for me. I think like a lot of tires, I want to put more material on the hook. No matter what I'm tying, I'm like a couple more.
So we talk about the body.
That's one I keep real sparse. Yeah.
The body, I feel like for the most of them, if you pick up even like a size 14 sulfur, if you pick it up, it's not a whole lot bigger. Like I'm tying them on a thicker shank, so it's not a whole lot thicker than what that 1X heavy is.
Than the shank itself.
And so a lot of times what I've gone to is the body is a thread. So I'm picking a thread that matches the hatch.
Sure.
And then the dubbing is reserved for just the thorax to basically cover up, where I put the deer hair and kind of
I gotcha.
Pulled that together. And then I put the dubbing around that.
Yeah. And then finish the fly off after that. You're done.
Now,
like you said, pretty easy.
But like one thing I learned early on is when you're building Comparaduns, the more hair you put on and the more force that you're using to cinch it down. When I first started tying them, I'd put them in my box, and then I'd take them out the next year, and all the wings folded down. Did you ever have that?
Oh yeah, you got to be careful how you store them.
But I mean, just in general.
I get what you're saying.
So
that thread dam or that dam in front wasn't
Right.
strong enough to keep the wing propped up.
and,
I got you.
and
yeah.
so when you're
Tell us
tying,
about that.
yeah, so when you're tying that Comparadun hair in, I tried to make it just a nice little, finish to the head of the fly
Mhm.
and not really think about what's going on, right? When you're tying it in, you're tying behind it, and your thread is actually pushing the fan forward towards the eye of the hook.
Yes.
The idea is that then you have to put something in front of it to, like you're saying, like
Yeah.
to dam it up. And so when you dam it up, that's where like I use the most amount of dubbing is to kind of create that dam there. And I'll even go, it's hard to give you a good estimate based on the fly size, but like I'll overcompensate that so it's kind of pushing it back.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times what'll happen is over time you tie it and you're like, oh, it's good, I flared it, you put it on your desk, and then you come back 3 months later and now the gravity and the
Tilting
force
forward.
of that has started to push forward. Now you can pull it out and work it some and put your thumb on it and kind of push it back. But if you build a bigger dam in front, it'll prevent that.
And then you got to put something like in front of like you're saying, you don't want that dam to slide forward toward the
Right.
eye over time, essentially. Yeah, releasing tension on the hair. That's a cool point. I think I do that naturally, or luckily somehow. I think maybe my first couple rounds of Comparaduns, I had that problem, but then I realized, nope, you really got to be strong there and not let that. Yeah, you have to build a fly that's not going to allow that to happen. It's a cool point.
And don't crowd closer to the eye too, right? Because if you're closer to the eye, you don't have that room to build the dam, and your natural instinct is, well, I'll just finish the fly off. It's good now. But you want I don't know what, a quarter.
Right.
You're about a quarter of the way back to the hook, I guess, from the eye.
For where the wing is?
Yeah.
Most people tell you like the wing should be like a third of the way back. Depends on your hook size too, right?
Yeah.
I go about a third of the way back. And I've always said like hook size doesn't matter. It's how long everything is. I mean, how long's the tail? How long's is it matching the bug? Is it the length that you want it to be? That's all.
Yeah.
So Troutbitten listeners already know the crew's favorite beer is Broken Heel's Hazy IPA from New Trail Brewing Company. But our friends at New Trail are hard at work developing our next favorites. Each one is like a different fly pattern because some fit your current situation better than others. Like this one they call 24/7 because it's the beer we could drink 365, crafted to go anywhere, anytime. 24/7's light body and low alcohol make it a must-have when you've got day-long plans but still want full IPA flavor. Then there's Trail Marker West Coast IPA, inspired by classic pine and orange flavor. Trail Marker is brilliantly clear, nicely bitter, and available in 2 varieties, West Coast IPA and Imperial IPA. You can bet the Troutbitten crew will mix these styles into the cooler with Broken Heels. So check out newtrailbrewingcompany.com to find retailers near you or on the way to the river. Since 2010, Smith Creek has designed innovative guide tough gear for serious anglers. Introducing the new Fly View chest pack system, Smith Creek's most advanced accessory yet. Built from marine-grade aluminum and lightweight PE foam, the Fly View is rugged, modular, and made to keep up with you on the water. Fly View's lid features a built-in 3x Fresnel magnifier, giving you a clearer view when you're tying on fine tippet, especially if your eyesight isn't quite what it used to be. With 5 swappable tray styles and an external lid patch with a magnetic fly holder, the Fly View chest pack can comfortably hold well over 100 flies, all in easy reach. Spend less time tying and more time casting with Fly View. Visit them online at smithcreek.co for more information. More body options. We're saying thread and dubbing. I do want to mention, went back and was looking at Couchy and Nastasi, and they're talking about spectrumized dubbing a lot. I don't know if that's when all that started. You understand the concept of spectrumized, like a number of dubbings kind of combined.
Okay.
Are you getting into your bag of spectrumized dubbing there? I hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't think that's important. I certainly don't think of it as part of the Comparadun. I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but put it this way. I think the body is the least important part. It's got to be reasonable, but I like your idea about thread back there, basically using dubbing for the around the wing area, and then you're finishing forward of that. You get into anything else besides those two materials? Do you care that much about like exactly what type of dubbing you're using?
I went through a phase where I was mixing them for sulfurs and I was mixing them for March Browns, like, putting 4 or 5, like you're saying. I guess that what you're saying.
They call it spectrumized, yeah.
I've come to the conclusion that kind of like a palish yellow, being on the stream in most mayflies, whether it's a Cahill, whether it's a sulfur, whether it's a March Brown, the majority of them are kind of like a palish yellow on the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. A lot of them.
Sulfur will look orange until you pick up the bottom of it and you turn it over. The bottom of it's probably a pale yellow.
And that's kind of lucky for us that so many of them really
and
have
so
that very
a lot of mine are pale
color.
yellow, or I've done like a tan, like a real light tan. I've not run into super picky fish. It seems like on the body dubbing, it's more the size and the shape that I think is more important.
That's kind of what I do then. We're talking about this platform of the Comparadun. Most of my like mid-range sized Comparaduns, let's say 14, 16s, maybe even some 12s, or that lighter color body. And they just kind of happen to be that because I'm thinking this is what I'm going to match. Like I said, the Cahills, the Hendrickson even. Obviously the sulfur. And then, well, when I get to like the 18s and 20s, then that's mostly olive. So I'm going, not the deepest olive, but a medium olive, a medium light olive to kind of match that mayfly belly. Then I'm thinking in my box, I have ones that look pretty good like a slate drake, and that's a darker color. That's not light.
Yeah, I'm usually I'm kind of like a real dark tan or almost like a real or a lighter brown.
Yeah, agreed.
Is usually what I've had success with.
I guess I have Comparadun green drakes too. Not that we get to fish those that much. I got probably half a dozen of those.
I tied some of those and I was getting super creative. I had this glow-in-the-dark flashaboo. And I thought I was going to go out at night and I was going to, catch all these fish with my glow-in-the-dark flashaboo green drake.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I don't know if I've ever been out at night yet to fish the green drakes because of the immense amount of crowds that follow them around. But
right. The best thing about the green drake is where everybody is going to be, and you can go somewhere else.
Exactly.
All right. Well, let's move on to the tail. That's the balance, right? That's like the outrigger, in behind it. Without the tail, like the fly will fall forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I fished a couple of them where the sparkle tail has like been disintegrated. I can get them to float, but it's not as easy.
I know. It wants to land wrong, and then it tilts forward too much for me. It starts like standing on its head. Right. And so that tail does need to be, well, again, like shank length. You'll find a lot of these measurements are the same across fly styles. Shank length tail, split tail. You're talking about microfibbits earlier. These days I use microfibbits and split them. For me, it's pretty easy, whatever. I build up a little thread ball, put the 4, maybe 6, there's not many microfibbits that I'm using, but I use that little piece of thread along with that little dubbing ball, and that's not a very big ball. And that splits them.
That's important. That's where I struggled because I didn't realize you put the dubbing ball on it when I first started. I was trying to do it without something there.
With that thread coming up between the fibbits, and then you lock it in tight so it can never move. I have no problem if the tails stay splayed out, fanned out. It's important too to have that tail split that way. Again, for like that outrigger effect. And I'm using microfibbits. Traditionally, it was spade hackle, just like that you're using on an upright hackle style. Good stiff hackle, whatever, could do the same thing. Could use deer hair, like the haystack again.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, bring the haystack back.
Oh, I'll have to give it a shot. I mostly use the poly, like some sort of yarn off the back of it.
So you're going for like the sparkle dun effect, like we said earlier.
And I've tried clear, and I've tried brown, and I've tried orange even for sulfurs, or I've tried to match like olive for the olives, and I don't think it matters a whole lot. The idea is it's supposed to look like the shuck behind the fly as it emerges.
Should make it more vulnerable. I mean, should have that easy meal effect again. Yeah.
And so I think brown, like a lighter brown, is kind of where I've settled on.
Okay, yeah.
I know orange, I did not have as much success as, I thought it was a sulfur nymph and it would, work, but it's usually like a lighter brown or just a clear is usually what I'm fishing most times.
Right on. So we're talking about the sparkle dun. That's a Craig Matthews pattern. Obviously, people know it worldwide. I remember I did get my hands on Zelon. I got it long ago. I was like, oh, gotta get the right stuff.
Yeah, I have
That's all I use.
Yeah.
I still have probably a third of that stuff left. Mine's olive. It's like, again, like a medium olive. You could call it brown if you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, like I don't think it matters.
Olive brown, green.
Especially when it's like a neutral color like that. If you're going orange or pink or something, or you put a chartreuse, would anybody even do that? Then it might matter because you're just doing something wrong. Yeah. But if you stay in browns and olives, it's about the same thing. Anyway, that trailing shuck, man, I think it does make a difference. I use it a lot, but no, I probably use the microfibbits and kind of the standard Comparadun, and especially that CDC Comparadun, more than the Sparkledun. But that's me.
Do you think the sparkle, like the Zelon, is more durable than the fibbits?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Do you?
Yeah.
It's like a synthetic. Well, the fibbits are... Well, here's the thing. It's not that the fibbits degrade or they're not brittle. It's not like they break, but they can get kind of deformed.
Yeah.
Usually it's like when I'm taking the fly out, maybe a fly really kind of gets stuck in the fish's mouth. So I got to get my hemostats out. And then in that process, I do something wrong
smash them.
to the fibbits.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what will happen. And that's kind of the only thing that really messes up most of my Comparaduns. It's not the wing that I screw it up.
It's trying to get it out. They like
tail.
Those Comparaduns, they seem to like when they eat them, they seem to end up on the roof of the fish's mouth a lot. And then you're digging them out. Digging them out is probably...
That might be because of the lack of hackle.
Maybe, yeah.
We get it. There's less to push away. It should be a surer eat, a more solid eat.
Yeah. Do you ever use paintbrush fibers for tails?
That's the same thing, right? They sell you microfibbits.
I've seen people on YouTube do it. I've never actually...
500% markup.
Never got one.
It's the same thing. I'm going to sell microfibbits on the Troutbitten store from paintbrushes. I'm just kidding. That's what we'll do. We'll get rich.
Go to Ole's Bargain. You can get a paintbrush for $1. Have microfibbits for life.
That's good stuff, buddy. Anything else about tails and wings and bodies? About the parts list?
I think that's it.
I just want to keep acknowledging, like, I know that we'll miss some stuff with all of these platforms, and people out there aren't going to look at everything the same way we do. Like these are our categories.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of others. You could just categorize things the way you want. That's what matters. I asked this at the end of the other 2 episodes too, Bill. Do you vary these Comparaduns on the stream at all?
You mean like actually make modifications to them while I'm on the stream?
That's what I mean.
The only thing I've done is the shuck on the back of the Sparkledun. Sometimes I'll tie it a little bit aggressive so that I have like more of it there, and then I'll get to the stream and I'm like, why did I do this? And so I'll tie in a little extra of it sometimes. I've trimmed down hair, we talk about my wantingness to have it float, 4mm bead. There's some times when I've trimmed it a little bit, but for the most part, put it this way, when I first started out, I probably did make more modifications, trying to dial in what I wanted it to be. When I got to the stream. Where now I feel like after I've been tying them for a while, I know what I want it to be. And so there might be slight variations that I'll do for each hatch. Platform's the best way to talk about it is, it's a platform and then you're changing the dubbing.
Yeah.
For me, that's all I'm changing is the dubbing and the size. And I'm tying it in, anywhere from a 22 to a 10.
So always the same tail essentially and always the same wing.
Yeah.
Color and type.
And I might change the type of hair.
Sure.
Like
because of the size of the fly.
Yes.
Yeah, right on. I'm pretty consistent with that too. The main thing I do is a CDC Comparadun, and I kind of think of that as a different one, but it's obviously a Comparadun. Tell you 2 things about variations. My buddy Rich, I've talked about him before. He used to carry scissors with him, and he messed around with a bunch of his dry flies. He was almost all dry flies all the time. And he was the type to find one rising fish and not leave until he caught it. He'd put it down, smoke half a cigar, and then the thing would start rising again. He'd go after it. It was great. I loved watching him. Not my game, but I loved his detailed nature. Yeah, he carried scissors, and he'd trim hackles, and he probably trimmed Comparadun hair. I don't know if I specifically ever saw him do that, but he thought it made a difference. It kept him in the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's cool. The other one, Dom Duso showed me this. He just takes... a Comparadun is his spinner, and he just takes his thumb and mashes that Comparadun wing down. and it'll splay out then to the sides, and then you have a pretty convincing spent wing spinner. The only thing I'd say then is the deer hair is opaque, right? And spinner wings are usually pretty translucent, right?
Yeah.
But the form is there, at least. And a lot of times when the spinners are on the water, it's low light anyway.
You just got to fish until it's dark enough where they don't care.
It doesn't matter, right?
Right. At some point,
I've had a lot of success.
At some point when it's, 9:45 and you're fishing something that's 5 feet away from, I've been in sulfur hatches where you can get 5 feet away from a fish and you're basically dapping it in front of them.
They're so dialed in. They just ignore what's around them.
Yeah.
We've all seen that. Yeah, honestly, most of the spinners in my box are old Comparaduns that I pushed down. You can kind of prop them up again if you want. As the years go by, that's what I use for a spinner more and more. I have dedicated
I've always just used the Comparadun because I feel like
without mashing it down.
Because then I can see it better. And so I figure it's fairly close, right?
I know.
It's already got like the extended wings are there.
I know.
And so, I will admit they're not eating it as well as if you would fish a spinner.
A dedicated
Like if you were to throw a dedicated spinner, your catch rate would probably be much better.
But you're running out of daylight.
And at that point it's 9:45 and you're changing a fly and you lose. At that point you might lose 5 minutes of fishing.
Yeah.
And
so, you got to be careful what you do or you'll accidentally give up.
Yeah.
If you try to be too versatile at dusk, you're going to give up. All right, buddy. Anything else? Anything we missed? Anything else you want to add, Bill, about Comparaduns?
No. Go fish them.
Go fish them. All right. There it is. Comparaduns for the win. So I really wanted to have Deli on for this episode to kind of show that you can think outside the box with any pattern. I honestly don't know anyone else who uses Comparaduns the way Bill does. Most of us use it as a closer for a hatch matcher, and it's certainly not a common dry dropper fly. But Bill not only makes it work, he probably catches more fish than you. Seriously, what Deli has done with the Comparadun really gets to the heart of this podcast season. He's taken the Comparadun platform and modified it to suit his needs. Bill's Comparadun isn't anything like Al Couchy's, and it's not much like mine. It's kind of like a sparkle dun, but it doesn't look like what Craig Matthews ties. Deli's Comparadun is uniquely his own, but he also isn't about to tell you that he created a new fly. It's all just variations within a platform. It's creativity, and that's part of the fun. So next week, we're tackling the downwings. Bill Dell, thanks for being here. Will you read us out?
Remember, the Troutbitten Project is a free resource for all anglers. The Troutbitten website hosts over 1,500 articles, videos, and podcasts. Endless stories, commentaries, tactics, tips, and more. Find what you like through the top menu and through the search page. Navigate by way of the categories and tags, too. Be sure to find the Troutbitten YouTube channel, now featuring Troutbitten tips, series, fly fishing the mono rig, and the Troutbitten fly box, all in collaboration with Wilds Media.
Wilds.
You'll also find the fish and film videos and the Riverside series and the new In Deep series, all in their own playlist on the Troutbitten YouTube.
On the YouTubes.
Thank you for listening to the Troutbitten Podcast. Please give the show a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Leave a comment because it really helps. Till next time, fish hard, enjoy the day, and find your life on the water. You got the wrong pair.
Are you serious?
I conquered that.
I don't know if it's true.
And I was like, oh, that's good. I'm taking that.
I don't overwing it.
I like the shorts.
You're always the outlier.
Yeah.